Hi everybody and welcome to Fire Dragons week of Dragons Awakening. I hope you're all really well, and I hope you're ready for a feisty, fiery and transformative week of our course. So we're fresh back from our time away, our little week off, our little half-term break, which I feel like was really necessary for all of us, really needed, because dragon energy is powerful. It is sometimes addictive, it is strong, but it can also be quite exhausting. So giving us a space to relax, to catch up on any of the weeks that we haven't done yet, and to rebalance our energy before we move forward is really positive and powerful. And as we're in Fire Dragon week, we are going to be in for an energetic, powerful, feisty, fiery and glorious week, I hope. And I'm looking forward to this, and I'm looking forward to really getting our dragon's teeth into the second half of the course. So, fire dragons. Basically, dragons and fire go together like, well, fire dragons really. We always or often associate dragons and fire. And we go into this quite a bit in the worksheets this week. But fire is the fierceness, the passion, the transformation, and the protectiveness of all dragons. But not all dragons do breathe fire. So, but it is a good energy to sum up the feeling and the experience of connecting with dragons. But when we are connecting with fire dragons, the energy is ramped up to the max. We may feel caution or anxiety about connecting with fire. It depends on our experiences with fire and our feelings about the element of fire. I've come across a lot of people who have anxiety about fire, or who feel or have had bad experiences, or who feel overwhelmed by the energy of fire. So if that is you, take this week slowly. Take the energy of fire with a simple candle lit on your altar, and really work with connecting with the smallest and most protected and gentlest of flames. But also know that every flame has the power to expand into something quite huge. So take care. I know I'm being mummy dragon at the moment, but just take care using fire. As a fire performer, I know very well what just a little bit of over relaxed energy with fire can do. I do not want anyone to be scared. I do not want anyone to be fearful. I want you to enjoy this week and be full of energy and exuberance. But we do go into the sheets as well that fire needs respect, and it is one thing that, just like excitement of a fire and how we feel when we're excited, it can go overboard and it can kind of take over and cause accidents, because basically when fire gets going, there is nothing that's going to stop it. Anyone that's witnessed unfortunate enough to witness a house fire or a forest fire, a bush fire, or even depending on where you it's interesting, the fire is really going for it as I talk about these things. Anyone that's witnessed a volcano, even if just on the television, you can just see the overwhelming, all-consuming energy of fire. And that's what fire does. Fire, it takes what you feed it, and it consumes and grows and grows and grows, unless we work with care and we work with respect and we work with honor. And just being very aware that this is something that is not really in our control. So like, we can be as respectful as we can, but some things, a change of wind, a shift in energy, and fire can just go on its own direction. So anyone working with any elemental of fire, I don't want anyone to be scared for 1 second. I'm the least person to tell you to be afraid of fire. And I have been through some bad experiences with fire as well, but I'll come back to that in a second. So I just want you to be enjoying this week as much as possible and enjoying the energy of fire as much as possible. And I want you to get the full, exciting, powerful benefits of fire. And so therefore, first things first, we need to be health and safety aware and have no flames left unguarded, and to be really sure that we're not, none of you would do this at all, but that we're not calling in fire dragons left, right and centre, and not having a protective space in our homes or in our circles for them. So yeah, I know you won't do this. I just wanted to, it needs to be said, doesn't it? When we're working with fire, just using that caution and that respect, and then we will, for the best of our abilities, be fine, because fire does burn. I know that's stating the obvious, but we don't want to get burnt, in energetically, emotionally, or physically. So connecting with the element of fire in a positive way. Let's bring some of the positives in, because I have read in a lot of books like use caution with fire dragons, don't really connect with fire dragons because, you know, they can be very fierce and, as we've mentioned, almost uncontrollable. But I want to say that my experience of fire dragons have been absolutely wonderful personally, and I've absolutely felt warmth, protection, friendliness, adventure, and the ability to transmute negative situations, negative habits, and to move forward with the fire dragons. And I've mentioned this painting I have here, Dragonheart, before, and yeah, that's something that painting and the experience of painting the fire dragon was an experience of dealing with fear, transmuting negative energy in my life, and being able to, my own stresses, and being able to face things with courage. And that is what a fire dragon is going to help you to do. If you befriend a fire dragon, if you feel drawn to the dragons of fire, they will bring you courage, warmth, excitement, the ability to do the things that you felt you couldn't before, because you felt there were insurmountable obstacles. Well, fire dragons go, nah. If it's a good thing, if it's the right thing, we're going to get right through that. We're not going to let you be held back, or let that hold us back. So again, using with caution, if you want subtlety, just be aware that just connecting maybe with the smaller fire dragons, the dragons of candles, the dragons that connect with the smaller flames, with the hearth fire, that could be a better way. And if we're going to ask for transformation in our lives, that we'd want it to be gentle, really be clear with our requests, because we are going to be working with transformation this week. We are going to be working with releasing what we don't need anymore and powering into the new warrior like us. I don't mean we have to start any fights, but it's a warrior is someone that has overcome an obstacle that before was holding them back. The warrior is someone that will stick up for themselves and other people when it's needed. So we're not starting fights, we're just working with that energy of coming into our power and having the confidence to be able to do the things we need to do. And to work with fire dragons, the words that we're going to be mostly connecting with this week is purification, excitement, passion, creativity, courage, and then we're going to be looking at transformation. But to really get the most out of connecting with the fire dragons, we are looking at the word mastery, self-mastery. We can't control everything, we can't control what's around us, but if we are doing our best to master our own energy, our power, our fears, our excitement, our desires, and this is the energy of the Strength card in the tarot, and there is an image of I'll put this up on the page, it's up there but you can't probably see it, the Strength card in the Celtic Tarot, which I was honoured to model for, and the Strength card is the lady, me, with a hand on a fire dragon and in a calm place, and that is the energy of being able to, not saying I can do it, but the Strength card can, being the energy to feel all that fierceness, all that power, and not let it overwhelm us, not let it fill us with anxiety, but to be in the flow, of our own power and the flow of the land. So mastery is a big thing to work with, to connect with fire dragon energy. And that's why, you know, fire dragons in films, in stories, can be seen as really quite fierce. I don't even know why I'm doing that. They are, you know, they're seen as fierce, and a lot of folklores and folk tales often depict them as being fierce. And this, again, I'm no fluff pot. Fire is fire, and dragons can do what they want. But this is, in a way, a protection. Fire dragons also are very protective. We'll come back to that in a second. But this protection of ourselves. So there has to be a guardian at the gate of our own power. There has to be someone that says, you're not ready yet. We're not going to allow you just yet to experience your full power, because it will blow your brain cells. It will drive you nuts. You'll either get burnt out, exhausted, go crazy, not be able to handle it. So there's usually a guardian at the gates saying, well, when you're ready, when you have that mastery, when you have gained in your own strength, in your own energy, that you're not going to use that power in negative or destructive forces to others and even to yourself. When you're not going to burn yourself out and lose your way with this energy. When you've got to a place of power within yourself, then through practice and time, we're going to work with this fire energy. So the energy and the magic and the power of fire dragons is neutral. It's not evil. It's not particularly good all the time. It could be both. Well, it's not both. It's not evil. It can work in both ways, because I've mentioned before, like good and bad are often very much how we put a swing on things for how we're feeling at that time. And in hindsight, we could say, actually, that was really, really bad at the time, but I can see why it's happened. And actually, I'm in a better place now. So the fire has cleared out the dross, the low energy, and it's brought me to a place of power. Not always, but sometimes we can. But there does need to be a guardian with our own energy. So fire energy is like Kundalini. It's like the divine spark. The shamans, the Celtic shamans, had the fire in their head. It was basically where the energy had risen up in their body and was kind of bringing them visions. They had reached that level of skill where they could raise their energy, and that fire would come through into their head and give them visions and be able to journey. This is not for somebody who hasn't tried it before. This energy takes time to work with, to get used to. So one of the things we're going to be working with this week is meditation and breath work, and also connecting with the chakras as well, and bringing the dragon energy, or feeling the dragon energy in all of our chakras. Because this is strengthening the field. It's kind of getting us used to the dragon energy, and it's strengthening the field within ourselves. So we want to practice working with fire energy. We want to practice working with dragons in our with our life force, so that we can be a master, or at least be adept at really feeling that energy. So I think fire dragons often appear as bad because sometimes you need to be scared off. Sometimes you don't need to walk into that doorway just yet until you're ready to ignite that fire within and to work with it. Because we all know what happens when we try something before we're ready. If I had never done fire dancing before, and if you'd never done fire dancing before, which probably maybe some of you haven't, it's not a normal thing everyone does, but if, say, I was teaching you fire dance and you'd never held a flame before, maybe more than a little bit of a candle, and I didn't start you off on a tiny fire palm, I started you off on a massive 10-pronged fire fan with flames going everywhere. Point 1, you'd probably freak out. Point 2, you might hurt yourself. And point 3, you might never want to do it again, because you're like, this is just too much. But if I started you off with a tiny fire palm, so you could feel the power of the fire, but not find it to be overwhelming, then you'd be like, oh, I quite like this, maybe. And then you would feel like, oh, I've got more confidence. Let me try having 2 of those. Let me try more. And then in your time, you can work with all that energy. So it's the same thing. The fire dragons can be fierce and protective because we're not ready for that just yet. And our psyche knows that, and they'll give us visions or images of fierceness, because we need to be aware that life can be scary, or the things that we see could be scary, and we also then need to know that we have the ability to work with that and to be able to deal with it. So yes, fire dragons are going to bring a lot of, if you work with them and if you kind of really feel that connection with them, they're going to bring that sense of adventure and transformation. So like I was saying with fire dancing, I'm going to use that a lot because I do fire dance, so I can see that working with fire is exhilarating and it demands you to be in the present. So working with fire and connecting with fire dragons demands you to be here in this moment right now, to feel your body, to feel alive, to feel the life force really, really flowing through you. And that's exciting. And I always feel, to be honest, at my most empowered when I have fire with me. It's like just channeling that kind of fire priestess, that fire dragon energy. And it's amazing. And that's the feeling I also get when I connect with fire dragons, this sense of wow, this wild wonder, this passion, excitement and warmth, where you are in the moment, and the moment is just all you need. Why would you be thinking about what you want for dinner, or about what someone said to you last week, or if you get that job next week, or does this person like you? If you've got fire in your hands, you're kind of in that moment. It's all there. So there's a potential for great excitement with fire, and the ability to be in the moment, to be empowered in the moment, not just be in the moment in a passive way. That's possibly what I should say as well. It's not just a passive, I'm in the moment, it's to be in the moment, to actively feel that you're part of that dance of life. As a flame flickers and moves, you do the same, and you're working with that energy. So fire brings us to life, fire brings us courage, and fire sparks many different things. It sparks passion. You've got to have that spark to find someone attractive. You've got to have that spark to be creative. And they often say that inspiration comes as a divine spark, as a fire that just comes out, and you have to do this to write that poem or to create that painting. So also, spiritual awakening is often seen as a divine fire, a divine spark as well. But also the fire, there's different levels of fire. Fire can be, as we know it, anger. And anger is something that may come up with Fire Dragon Week. So this is one thing to be aware of. Fire dragons are also volcanoes. They are things that bubble up for a long time and then that's not a realistic effect of a volcano, but you know what I mean, explode. We do not want to be the volcano. We want to actively flow and work. I mean, volcanoes are amazing and they bring change, transformation, fertility, new energy, but they're terrifying, and holding all that energy in with us isn't actually necessary. So fire dragons will help us with creativity, with inspiration, with passion, with excitement, with being in the moment. But they might also bring up anger issues. So if we're pushing some anger down, mastery doesn't mean ignoring anger. Mastery doesn't mean I'm like this divine being that doesn't have these messy emotions. Mastery is I have all of the messy emotions. I have all of the anger and I am able to flow with them, to express them healthily, and to not allow them to consume me and tear me apart. To be as productive as possible and as honest as possible with these emotions. So I mean, I really struggle with anger. I think a lot of particular women, I'm not saying only women, but I know that women particularly do struggle with anger, and maybe not all of you, and maybe actually you guys actually know I'm struggling with this, but I think it's not seen as a very ladylike thing to be angry, and that's only seen in the last few hundred years. It's kind of it's something that's been put upon us, and it kind of goes inwards then, and it comes out as bitchiness. It can come out as neurosis in different ways if you don't healthily express anger. Now, I can promise you I'm working on this one. This is not something that I have in the bag. Anger's a tough one. It's a scary one to look at. But when you actually stop pushing it down, start really looking at anger and being honest about it and expressing it in positive ways. Now, that's a big discussion in itself, expressing anger in positive ways, but creativity, through activity, through communication before it gets to breaking point, through working with fire to show you the cleanliness of fire, because cleanse purifies, and how that can help you clear away anger without leaving that nasty debris emotionally. It's a really, really big thing. So continuing with the writing stuff that maybe we had in the Air Week, really continue that journey of expressing emotions and free writing, because that could actually help identify any anger or issues that could be bubbling away under the surface. So we have the positive of creativity and excitement, all the things that we like to deal with, positivity and excitement, and things we don't like to deal with, anger, and the darker parts of transformation. So yeah, there's going to be a lot that will come up this week, and I hope you will enjoy the journey. I hope you are, whatever you feel about fire, do express it in the group, come and share, because some people have an element that is their favourite element, and that could be their fire sign, you can tell I'm a fire sign, can't you? That could be their star sign, what the element is, or it may not be at all. You may think, well, actually I'm an earth sign, but I'm really drawn to water, or I'm a fire sign, but I'm much more of an earthy person. But you may have a elemental dragon that fits you better than the one that you're kind of born under, as it were. So have a think about which elemental dragons have come through and felt most you. You know, I definitely feel very drawn to fire dragons and their energy, and that's also why I feel quite. I love their energy. They're exciting. They bring so much more than just, you know, people say destruction and danger. That's something to be aware of. But as your connection grows with your fire dragon, I've noticed them to be the most kindest, encouraging, warming, and actually healing energies. I've actually gone to curl up to sleep with my fire dragon in a warm space because they've just been so protective and nurturing. Because also fire is your hearth. Fire is the warmth that lights the sun. It is the fire that lights your home and keeps you warm and toasty. Without fire, you know, we can talk about the dangers of it until, you know, I'm not doing that. I genuinely mean there are dangers. But we can talk about the dangers of this until the cows come home, the dragons come home. But think about what we need. You know, without fire, we'd be pretty stuck. We wouldn't heat our food up. We wouldn't have a warm home. We wouldn't feel cozy or have lights or have all these different kind of things. So fire is and warmth, and that the sense of the sun on our face and the joy we feel when we have warmth in our bones. So fire does so much for us, and staring into a lovely bonfire or a hearth fire is calming, is relaxing, and is soothing, and brings us a sense of peace. We are still in the moment because we're really looking at the we're in the fire and we're kind of relaxed and we're watching it, but it's in the moment in a very calming way. So we can see that fire can invigorate us with action. It can calm us and make us feel at home and make us feel connected to the ancestors. And then the third thing we're going to look at it can do is it can transform, it can transmute energy. You know, the phoenix is born from the flames. When people die, often they are, you know, they are put through fire, they have the ashes. So the cremation energy of fire is what a final journey for many, and has been for ancestors as well, the funeral pyre, and the transformative energy of fire and the cleanly energy of fire. So we are looking this week as well at the clearing out energy of fire, the transforming energy of fire, and the worksheets we'll be working through over the week. We'll be looking at how to work with fire to clear what no longer serves us and to be able to move forward with passion and freedom, because that's what the fire dragons want us to do. They want us to feel passionate and free. We're also going to be sparking some creativity. So the second part of the week, we have another creative project. Yay, creativity. I love it. It's very exciting. So more creativity when we come to Thursday. And throughout the week, we'll be looking at breath work, connecting with the chakras, really working with the fire energy within and without. One more energy that I'm going to connect with fires is they are guardians. Like I was saying, they guard the place within us that needs to be protected until we're ready to see it. And they also guard the country. They guard, there's flags. There's a lot of, if you look at a lot of heraldry and a lot of flags, the Somerset flag, the Welsh flag, so many flags, and kind of the king's armour and all that kind of thing have the red fire dragon, because they are the fierce protectors. They are the ones that will guard the land and they will guard us and keep us safe. So working with fire dragons, if you feel you need protecting or if you feel you need keeping safe, that is a really powerful and positive thing. The fire dragons will come in as long as we connect with them and get to know them and protect us, guard us and keep us safe. They are the most protective and strong dragons in that way. So if we ever feel we're in any danger or we're feeling just not safe, the fire dragons will help us in that way and will allow us to rest in their strength. So they are very friendly as well. I find them being very friendly, and they're very guarding and they're very loving and warm. So with all this, they also are illuminating. I want to say that one final thing is they illuminate things. They'll bring things to light which we may not have seen before. I always say the quote on this from the film where the light burns the dark, and I feel like that is a good thing. When fire illuminates the dark, we see things in new ways and we're able to move forward. So the fire dragons can light the way for us, and they can help us to move through things that have blocked and kept us in the dark. So thank you so much, guys. I love you all, and I'm really pleased you're here and enjoying this journey. This week is about creativity. This week is about passion. This week is about connection. It's about clearing, and it's about transmuting. Are you ready for Fire Dragon Week? Let's get started. I'll see you all on the Facebook page.